14.7 pounds. And no, I'm not talking about the weight of this adorable puppy. That's the weight of air. More specifically, a 1-inch column of it that extends from the surface of the Earth to the edge of space. And here's the crazy part. That weight that air has, it affects us in more ways than we can count. From wind to spacesuits, toilets to flight, and much, much more.
Seriously, Dave?
So how much air there is called air pressure. But that changes from place to place and from time to time. Hey, what's your air pressure over there? If you're in a place with lots of air, it's a high pressure, and if there's less air, it's a low pressure. And on maps, you see this as an H or an L. And here's the key. The universe wants air pressure to be equal everywhere. And if it gets out of balance and one place has too much air, well, that's when things get really, really interesting. So here are my top 10 crazy things that happen when one place has more air than another. When traveling in airplanes or going up and down mountains, you've probably felt your ears pop. But when you're just hanging out, you don't feel anything. And that's because even though the weight of air is pushing on you, you're already full of air in your lungs, ears, and sinuses that's pushing out. The air pressure is balanced. It's like two dung beetles fighting over a ball of poop. If they're pushing in the opposite direction with the same strength, nothing happens. But your ears pop because as you go up into the atmosphere, there's less and less air and air pressure. Pretty soon there's a high air pressure still in your head and a low air pressure from the elevation outside. And this puts pressure on your inner ear as the air wants to go from high pressure to low pressure to become balanced. So you pop your ears to let the air out, making everything balanced once again. And number 2 is wind. Everybody's favorite, or maybe their least favorite. All over the world, air pressure is different, and this is mostly due to the sun heating up the planet unequally depending on its color, reflectivity, or latitude. And when air heats up, it expands and rises, leaving less of it, a low air pressure. And when air is colder, it does the opposite. It condenses and sinks, giving us more of it, high air pressure. You can really see this with this balloon. When I heat up the air by putting it in hot water, the air in the balloon expands and rises right away. And the instant it goes back to the cold water, it condenses and sinks. So when the world has different air pressures, air flows from where there is more to where there is less. This is wind. Number 3, why humans wear spacesuits. In case you didn't know, space has no air. What? I guarantee not everyone knows that. You could say it's the ultimate low pressure. And humans are full of air. We're high pressure. So if a person is floating in space with no spacesuit, the air will rush out to fill the missing air instantly, high to low pressure. I won't go into details, but this is not good. So anybody planning to go to space, please wear a spacesuit. It will keep the air pressure inside and outside your body balanced and you happy. Oh, and you need air to breathe. And now for a really quick segment that I like to call Seriously People? There are a bunch of different ways to measure air pressure. At sea level, it's generally said to be 14.7 pounds per square inch, which is the same as 101,325 pascals, which is the same as 1,013.25 millibars, and 760 millimeters of mercury, or 1 atmosphere. Seriously, people, make up your mind on the units. And what this really means is that you're being squeezed by air from all directions, all the time. You're under a lot of pressure, and not just from your parents or bosses. And now for number 4, drinking from straws. It's a common belief that when you drink from a straw, you're sucking up a liquid, but you're not. Try this. Get a glass or metal container with a lid, seal all the places that air could get in with putty, except for the straw, and then tell somebody to have a drink. Watch, it's super hard to get any liquid out of it.
It's really hard to sip.
And that's because you don't suck, air pushes. When you use a straw, you decrease the air pressure in your mouth. The high pressure air outside then pushes down on the water, forcing it up the straw and into your mouth. Now number 5 is flight. Years ago, people looking at birds flying and their wing shapes had an idea to make their own wings with a similar shape, called an airfoil. The airfoil does this. It allows air to go straight underneath a wing, but it travels a longer distance when the air goes over the wing, spreading out, and becoming less dense or having a lower air pressure. The high pressure air under the wing then pushes up, trying to get to the low pressure area over the wing. This is called lift. It's the force that lets planes fly and birds. Please tell me you've thought about how a suction cup works before. Because there's no glue, there's nothing sticky, there's no adhesive, so what keeps those suction cups on there? The only explanation is air. For this huge suction cup on a camera mount, the person pumps that blue button in order to get all the air out of it. Once there's no air underneath, it has no air pressure. So the high air pressure outside pushes on it with 14.7 pounds of force for each square inch of that suction cup. My suction cup here has a diameter of 2.5 inches, which is an area of 4.9 square inches. At 14.7 pounds of force per square inch, that's 72 pounds that this can pick up. And air pushes from all directions, so even upside down, that suction cup stays on. Number 7 is hurricanes and tornadoes, which, while natural, can be terrifying and dangerous. And while different in many ways, at their core, both are just areas of extremely low air pressure. And as you know by now, air flows from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure. But what I didn't tell you is that the bigger the difference between that high and low pressure, the faster air will flow to fill in those gaps. And you should be aware, when movies show things shooting away from a tornado, that is scientifically totally wrong. I'm looking at you, Twister. Everything is getting pushed towards the tornado. Number 8, airplane emergencies. Now, planes fly very high in the sky where there is very little air or air pressure. Meanwhile, planes are pumped full of air to keep the pressure as similar to the surface of the Earth as possible. But if a hole forms in a plane, the high pressure air inside the plane rushes out to fill the missing low pressure air outside. Then the oxygen bags fall because there's too little air left in the plane to breathe. But technically, nothing gets sucked out of a plane. It all gets pushed out by the air in the plane itself. But don't worry too much, movies exaggerate everything. I doubt holes in planes are that bad in reality. And the 9th thing that happens because of unbalanced air pressure is breathing. Since you need to breathe to live, you probably know how it works. When you breathe, your diaphragm, a muscle below your lungs, contracts, pulling down, creating low air pressure in your lungs. Then air flows from the high pressure outside to the low pressure in your lungs. Breathing. That is really weird to think about. And finally, number 10, the little hole on coffee cups. When the coffee isn't hot or if it's been refilled with water, cover up that hole and flip the coffee upside down. What? Maybe it's easier to see on this bigger bottle, which I've burned holes in. If I uncover a single hole, nothing comes out. What's holding the water back? Well, that's air and air pressure trying to force its way in combination with the water's surface tension. I can even hold the bottle on its side with all 3 holes uncovered. Still, very little comes out. The only way liquid comes out is if I give air another way in, like the little hole in the coffee cup. Air is pressing on all of us, all the time, from every direction. So thank goodness for air pressure and its constant desire to be balanced and even. It makes the modern world work. There are thousands of ways that you see air pressure in action every single day, which I hope now you'll see with your new knowledge. And if you made it this far into the video, you are a rock star, my friend. So until next time, stay curious.